call this May 8th Jackson County Commission meeting to order. Have our roll call.
District 1?
Present.
District 2?
Present.
District 3? Present. And District 4?
Present.
We have a quorum present. We can conduct business. We'll have our invocation by Mr. Porter and our pledge by Mr. Fisk.
God, our Father, we're blessed with this wonderful weather you've provided for us. We're so thankful for it. We're thankful for these men and women that have chosen to serve the public by being elected to this commission. We pray that you will give them discernment and guidance, compassion, wisdom in all things. So God, we pray for the best interests of the county citizens to be the result of this meeting. God, we pray that you'll watch over us and guide us all. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first item for approval of the agenda. We have 4 items on the agenda for approval this evening. Are there any changes before we proceed? We have a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Okay. No more presentations. No one has signed up to speak. So regarding minutes for the meetings, we have minutes from the 13th, 20th, 27th of March, and April 3rd in our packets. Those I think were emailed to everybody prior as well. So do we have any changes to those for approval? Any questions or comments? Okay, we have a motion to approve those either separately or together.
Make a motion to approve them all together.
Okay, a motion to approve all 4 sets of agendas. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Okay, no old business. First item of new business is regarding the proposal for the purchase of trucks. Mr. Campbell?
Thanks, sir. Commissioners, in your packets, the best thing to look at first would probably be a summary sheet that titles JCPW trucks, and then on the first column are the different types of trucks that we were looking at and discussed last week. As you probably recall, I was asked to look into the Kenworth as a comparison to the International. So those 3 categories are listed for the Kenworth and Internationals. So although the International is not necessarily the cheapest, as you can see there's not a lot of difference compared to the Kenworth and the category. So to further complicate this issue, I think whatever move we go, it somewhat affects what we do maybe down the road, like with our heavier trucks with the tri-axles. So on the table there are the specifications and breakdowns for each type of truck. To the best of my knowledge, I believe we have apples to apples on everything. And on top of that binder, you'll notice a flyer there where we're comparing the Mack trucks that we currently use now for our heavy-duty tri-axles with the Kenworth tri-axles. So you'll see that actually they're advertising we can have more truck for less money with the Kenworth with tri-axles. So when we look at this decision on which way to go, I believe we also kind of have to have this as part B when we consider brand consolidation, resale value, things that such as that. So either way, International or Kenworth, we're going to end up with the drive, high quality drivetrain. That was the goal. So it's really just a matter of choice on truck, service, resale, things such as that.
So questions or comments?
We got any idea on the 2 as far as resale, which one's got the best resale, or they both got the same?
I don't have any numbers to give you, but everybody I talked to said that the Kenworths will outsell the Internationals on down the road, and Mr. Sis might like to weigh in on that.
I was one that kind of mentioned that right there when we was talking about replacing these trucks, cause I've been around them all my life, and when it comes to auction sales, it can't worth it. It's gonna bring a little more money. It's all said and done, and they've got some good equipment. You know, when it comes down to the Kentworth versus the cabin chassis like that one there, there's not much difference. But if you get on in tri-axles and the tandem axle, they're definitely gonna bring more from what I've gathered over the years. So, I was gonna get a hold of Madison County, Roger Jones down there, a friend of mine, because he's over in the district. And I know they changed over, they went to Kentworth, but I didn't have a chance to get a hold of them. Thank you.
I'm just curious whether it's if we're gonna make $9,000 more, that's got the difference.
Thanks.
And we have one other, a little bit more information I didn't give you is, we have, currently our herbicide truck is international. We have 2 tandem axles that we're keeping, they're both international. So there's 3 international trucks we have now. I asked the mechanics, you know, and the shop personnel, I said, you know, which way would y'all like to go? And they said they would switch all Kenworth.
You said Kenworth would work with us on guaranteeing prices during the auction cycle with the tri-axle.
I don't have a guarantee to show you, but in discussions with the auction folks, the wood company said that they would give us a guaranteed proposal to net out a year in advance if we were to purchase Kenworth.
Any questions or comments? Do you have a recommendation on how to proceed?
I would go with what our mechanics and shop personnel say.
Kenworth.
So they don't, I mean, they're, I guess, knowledgeable and work on both.
Yeah, and they're basing that on the experience they've had with International, the truck center and service that they're dealing with that, versus the brand name and, you know, like Mr. Sisk is saying, what they know from the trucks and their work.
Repairs run about the same with International and the Kenworth, or do we know?
Most of these will be, you know, warranty items for several years, but I'd say parts and labor and all that other would probably be comparable with either center.
That's what I told Jonathan. I said, I'm not ready for upping the amount right there, but I said, when it's all said and done, you get in there, it's basically like a John Deere tractor. A John Deere sitting there beside a Hub 10, it's gonna sell tops. And that Kentworth's gonna be one of the top ones right there.
Are these on like you may have mentioned a state bid, or what are we purchasing this through?
If we chose to purchase the Kenworths, then we would be utilizing our membership with National Joint Powers Alliance. So this is a national purchasing cooperative that we are a member of. And so, being a member of that, they have already satisfied the competitive bid procedure, and that's audited by the examiners of public accounts and all that. So essentially both processes have been competitively bid. It just comes down to the choice and the product you want.
Any other questions or comments? A reminder on how these are being paid for are through the sales of the other equipment, as well as the remaining balance to come from the cash in 111, correct?
Yes, sir. Mostly combining surplus dollars and then supplementing the remainder from 111.
I wish I went a little further when I talked to John the other day and pulled up some of the remaining sales that he passed. You know, when Woods had, when Richie had, they had these trucks in there, both of them the same. So I didn't give him enough information.
I looked at some of the numbers from the wood, the recent wood auction, which the max superseded the Kenworth, but I think a lot of that was, you know, this price point that Kenworth is coming with now that's competitive or slightly lower than Mike. That's just been recently that's happening. So the market is still, at least according to his auction results, are still pretty heavily weighted to the Max with the Mac brand. But their consensus is that it's, you know, in speaking with Ritchie Brothers, they said that, you know, the Kenworths could bring a little more than the Max. I don't think there's a lot of difference in the tries, you know, a whole lot there, as it would be versus an international brand.
Right.
Any other questions? So do we have a motion on how to proceed?
Motion to purchase the Kenworth.
I second it.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? How quickly do you plan to move forward with this?
We'll go ahead and get this going. One reason is because what they're gonna replace, we need to take out of service, clean up in preparation for the auction, so we need that truck to replace it in service, so we'll likely move ahead with this.
Okay. And as far as the auction for the other vehicles we sell to those, we provide a report on what we sell those for.
Absolutely.
All right, any other questions or comments? Motion and a second. All in favor say aye. As opposed, say no. Okay. Next item is regarding the sewer addition to the Jackson County Park. Mr. Barnes.
Yes, I wanted to get with the other contractor to try to get it apples to apples. I tried, didn't get any response back, so that's what we're still where we're at. I tried
Questions or
a
comments?
couple of times on trying to get with it.
Is this something that is needed immediately, or what's the status of
It's something that probably gonna have to be, it takes about a week to order your pipe and order your manholes and those types of things, so we're about 2 weeks out with the building hopefully being done, so you know, if you approve something today, then they're gonna order the pipe and stuff, and they said they could have the sewer in probably 4 to 5 days, you know, considering the weather. So, I know it's got to be to that one building that we're building out there. So,
Back to the restaurant.
restaurants you can wait on, but it's got to.
At some point, we're gonna have.
At some point, we've got to put, well, we've got to put the new building on some kind of septic or sewer.
The main difference is the dress up and seed, right?
Well, the
Yeah,
paving back, the higher price one's got, price to pave back. The higher price one also has the price to tie in, the sewer to the building.
You also got the ductile price.
Tie-in and paving.
The tie-in, $8 a foot, and you're not talking about what? 20 foot between,
Probably,
so you're not talking about much money there.
We're not sure on one if it's PVC or ductile, we just know that
It's
Or
gonna be,
PVC.
Well, if you go ductile, then you see the prices difference on that first one from PVC to ductile. So you're looking at about $5,000, am I right?
correct.
So if this one is $5,000 more, if you have to use ductile, because it's the same footage, it's the same pipe, it's the same, you know, so you're looking at $5,000 more if it's ductile.
Right.
Now, that's just.
Still cheaper than the PVC price.
Right.
The higher price.
Right.
The paving, the tie-in, what was the other thing, there's 3 things.
dress up.
I mean, how much paving are they gonna need?
Well, you just have to cut the road probably about, 2 foot.
I mean, this price is almost double. I mean, if it's seed, a little bit of asphalt, to me like.
Well, they don't really match up the scope of work when you stop and look at them. You know, like I said, the tie-in, that one's got,
Well, the first one says approximately 300, and the second one says to install 260 foot.
you know,
If whatever we approve, we're approving what's being presented to us. You know, if anything changes on that, we're gonna have to come back and make those modifications unless we want to approve just an amount.
so go on after the phone, Carl, is that what?
Where do we stand on resources to do these other three things ourselves?
Well, I got called him, he said he'd get back with me, I never received anything, and I got with him twice, so.
What,
You know,
Ms. Gilbert asked, where do we stand on completing those other things ourselves?
what's that, Mr. Ryan?
The seeding, the parking lot, I guess the repaving and tying in.
I don't know what the repaving would cost, I have no idea about that, but reseeding and stuff, I mean, it's not,
That would be something that your people could do
I
though.
mean, that's pretty well, simple and stuff.
And then y'all were talking about the tie-in being a simple process last week.
Yeah, it's like.
Yeah, tie-in is too well.
I think we've got two options we recommend would be, higher price. The PVC is our first option with the approval to move to the ductile if it's required. And on the other option, just as the scope of work is presented, would be to approve that scope of work as it's presented with a $5,000 contingency for ductile if that's required. But I think we need to stick to the scope of work without knowing what any additional cost would be. So we need to determine, can we do that, or do we, can we do the difference in the scope of work? Can we handle that ourselves, or do we?
The paving and the reseeding it and the tying in.
Well, another thing, what is it,
I really don't,
what does it mean right here? One of them's got parking lot to be filled 100% with stone. The other one don't have it on there, it just says we will gravel bed all sewer.
right, you have to put gravel.
You gotta have gravel, but I mean, this one right here, it's got parking lot, so how much are we talking about parking lot to be filled?
I don't know what you mean about the parking lot, because there's not really a parking lot there, we're crossing.
Where is the scope of work? I mean, it was laid out, it's sent to,
Behind the restaurant,
I mean, do we have a things you sent as far as
the one out there.
do you have a scope of work that you sent them to, for bid on?
No, I had a company to come out and make sure that we could do this,
Okay.
and we can do it, so, this is.
They've been out there to look at the site, and you've shown them
Right.
where we're needing to run it.
And both parties know where it's at. Now, as far as tying in, I've seen it done. It looks easy, but, a lot of things looks easy, but I think
Well,
it's
even
not.
if you just pay for an extra charge of tying in, you're looking at, $14,000 difference. The paving, the tying and, seeding, no way you have to exceed.
I mean, what do we talk about? $1,000, you guys go over and pave that long strip, where they cut it out across the road?
Oh, you talking about on the pavement?
Yeah.
Is it, cold mix, okay, cold mix, okay to go back in?
It's all hot mix, so.
Do you have a tonnage on that?
I mean, it's just a 2-foot strip across 2 lanes, it's not even 2 lanes of road.
We know how thick it is out there now, a couple inches.
I'm broad, yeah.
How wide's your road?
Probably 20 feet, maximum, counting the bike lane and everything.
If this is held till next week, do you think that'll put us behind on what we need to do?
It's just according on Mr. Hodges how the weather goes. I mean, they've got it dried in now, the building, so, pretty much they're ready to start wiring it. They run the water over today, it'll be there Thursday to run the electrical to it, so they're dried in now, so, they got the part.
Supposed to be 7 cubic feet.
So they can work on rainy days.
You're talking like half a ton?
Yeah.
Not very much cost on material, be mostly labor.
Packet, we're gonna walk behind.
We got a plate tank.
Yeah, you ain't got much area, the pools are there. I just
They're making us go with the lowest bidder.
figured those Stacy, we just overlooked it the other day, and had a tie-in deal, and one of them had it, one of them didn't, so he just fell over to put it in there,
Do we want to go with the lowest with the 5,000 contingency?
Yeah.
And you said, did you make a motion?
Yeah.
I'll second.
So we're making a motion to go with the lowest quote with with the $5,000 contingency for ductile if that's
So
required.
that make it no more than 18,422.20, right?
Correct. Second by Ms. Gilbert. We need to confirm that, you know, that if there's any changes, we'll need to come back next Monday and we will look at it again, but, so motion second. Any further discussion or questions?
For future reference, like Jonathan's guys have a work order form, and so these guys know exactly what we're bidding out. Can we have a work order form? For jobs that we need done. We need to come up with something.
That's
You
what I
guys
asked
know.
about,
You
scope
talking
of
about
work.
bid spec?
Yeah, something. We needed some kind of universal paper to send out to these people and tell them what the job is instead of,
I got with both contractors and I walked it with them and showed them
but what's lost in conversation, I'd rather have it in black and white.
I think with this was, on most cases, you're right, but on this one, I think it would be hard for somebody, I know it wouldn't be me, 'cause I ain't a plumber, so it'd be hard for me to walk out there and say, this is like with Big Carl, so I don't know Carl, he probably like me, I mean, you might could write bid specs, but I can't, not for a plumbing job, I can for HVAC jobs.
But it's not really being
No,
fair to the
it's-
other guy, either one. I mean, if you ain't got a scope of it, like she's saying, and I'm saying the same thing, to know exactly, because one little error right there can mean several $1,000s, you know. If one here's one way, one here's the other way. But,
I mean, if you would like to, we can put it off until next week. And
No, I'm fine with that vote. I was just thinking in the future that would save us a lot of what we've been going through here. To know for sure, instead of imagining what they're thinking, we would have it in black and white and know what they knew when they walked in there.
I think in order to do bid specs, you have to have some kind of engineering, is that
You don't have to, you
It
can
didn't-
have a description.
Yeah, they said, doesn't necessarily have to be a bid spec, just, but I want a description to the people that we're asking, so they know exactly what we're talking about. They can't say that they did not know, they can't say that they, you know,
not?
Well, things like clarifying
yeah,
tie-in and stuff like that.
just some kind of description more than just word of mouth.
Well, normally, if it were a little bit more, have to be bid, and then you'd have bid specs, this one has
Yeah.
a bid requirement, so I guess.
But still, it would be us sitting here trying to think what they did know and didn't know.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Okay. Next item is motion to approve and sign agreement regarding County Road 33 Phase 2 resurfacing. Mr. King?
This is, in your packet stated April 27, 2017, it's the agreement that for us to execute. Basically, this just solidifies what we've already decided to do. This is for the Phase 2 section of County Road 33 resurfacing. That's the portion from County Road 28 to County Road 32. So just shy of 2 miles, and on the second page of this, you can see the funding check out and how the breakdown is on the funding. But this is consistent with the agreement we signed for our resurfacing program to receive the federal dollars.
28 to 32, you did say that run through the fish ponds
Yes, ma'am.
from Backbone, well, no, what was that bridge around there?
Chicken foot?
Chicken foot, yeah.
Questions or comments on this?
And 32 is at New Harmony?
Yes, ma'am.
Do we have a motion to approve the agreement?
Make it motion.
Second. Any further discussion?
Part B, I'll add some further discussion. There's a sheet I handed out, it's titled 2017 Proposed Federal Project. So signing this agreement reminds us that it's time to have the next project on the horizon. So we're 2 projects out now, is what this is considering. So if you guys recall what we've decided, after Phase 2 of 33 is County Road 63. So it's time for us to start making preparations to select the next resurfacing project. So that's what this page is for. It has 3 projects listed on it, and I just wanted to get that in front of all of you this afternoon, so it'll also reappear in the next work session and then the next commission meeting. If we could vote, and we can go ahead and get the plans initiated, start doing the work we need to make it happen. So, I'll just add some information that you most likely remember. On this breakdown, you'll see the road number, description of where it's located, the mileage, the ALDOT rating, vehicles per day, which you hear me say 82, and then when it was last paved and what we think it'll cost to do that. So the ALDOT rating is a big deal. That's basically its score on its condition. And then the vehicles per day, so that's the amount of people that road is serving. So one significant fact about that rating, if a roadway falls less than 70 for 3 consecutive years in our major and minor collector network, then we're subject to losing federal funding by not caring for the investments we make. So it comes down to, ADT and score are the two large factors when going the worst first approach like we are.
Do we have any roads that are scoring less than these scores on the ALDOT rating?
These are our lowest tier of scores.
When do you want something on this? When do we need to have
I wanted to get it out there. If it can be back in the work session next week and then a vote on the next meeting, that would be great. If you guys need more time, then we'll get you any information you need or any facts you need to make that decision.
So we'll place that on next week's work session and then to discuss further. In regard to the 33 agreement, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on that? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Okay, any other questions this time for the proposal for next year?
I won't hold them up, but I'll get with you.
Yes, ma'am.
Just on the, I know you taught me a lot about major and minor that day that we went out in the field, so I'll get with you one day.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, the final item is a request to approve Monday, July 3rd as a holiday. July 4th falls on a Tuesday, so this would give that Monday off as well. Questions or comments on that?
Make a motion.
Motion to approve, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed say no.
Okay, question though, if this is third, like we discussed beforehand, will that just totally cancel that meeting, or is it gonna move to another night?
We'll look to either put it at the following Monday, which is probably what we're in.
Just double up on the 11th?
Probably
Or 10th?
the 10th. We may do a work session based on there,
Okay.
or it'll push them to a double week somewhere. Any other questions or comments? Okay, that concludes the items on our meeting. So Mr. Porter, do you have anything? Mr. Hampton? Mr. Myers? No. Chief Deputy? No. Mr. Venable? No. Mr. Sis? No. Ms. Bibbers?
No.
Mr. Duffy?
No.
All right, that concludes all the items on our agenda for this evening. And that is everything. So with that, we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion, have a second? Second. You guys aren't ready to go tonight, are you?
Can't believe it.
Let's take a round. Motion, second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Man, keep it.